Don't chew on that, Max.
Cooper loves that chew, too.
Oh, now he's into Cooper's food. Wow, he is loving it. What do you feed Cooper?
Blue Buffalo Life Protection Formula. He never leaves a crumb. I love it because it's made with high-quality protein, nutrient-rich fruits and veggies, and wholesome whole grains.
Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Blue Buffalo foods are made with the superior ingredients your dog needs to thrive. Can your dog food say that? Visit feedbluefood.com to learn more.
We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Welcome to another episode of Horror Movie Night. It is kicking off Franchise February with a masterpiece that I can't believe we've never talked about before, 1987's Hellraiser, as picked by Scott. Scott,
yes.
Let's.
Was it picked by me? Was it recommended by me?
I thought it was. I thought you had Heckraiser on your long list anyway.
I did have Heckraiser on, not Hellraiser. We don't swear on this show.
Wrong.
Yeah,
we watched the wrong movie, Matt.
Oh,
he
no.
watched Hellraiser. We fucked up.
This is another one of those classic cases where I was like, I have zero notes. Like, I've seen this movie so many times.
It's good every time.
Know it like the back of my hand. It is so good.
I had big plans to dive into the special features, even just for this episode, really, to like get some more intel. That didn't happen, but maybe there'll be a special features that we'll include down the line, because Arrow put out an amazing set of the quadrilogy, which includes Bloodline. I don't have the quad; I just have the single disc Hellraiser, but that alone has a ton of stuff on it.
I would love to. I mean, I don't watch a lot of. I mean, I don't consume a lot of special feature material aside from what you post for us. But I feel like of all of them, Bloodline's got to be the one that I would want to watch the most. You know,
right?
That's just,
what's going on over there?
Yeah, I feel like it was such a. I love Bloodline, so I'm gonna say, and everybody that listens to this show knows that, like, I love Bloodline, but I would love to know why it's such a mess. Yeah. Because I won't lie to myself or anyone else. It's a mess.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's one of those movies where you're like, there is a great idea somewhere in this movie.
Yeah. Hellraiser in space.
I mean, I think that's a way I could describe almost every Hellraiser sequel after the second one, is like, there is a great idea here where the execution is maybe not what we need it to be. The biggest issue with Bloodline is that it doesn't follow. We've talked about this before. It doesn't follow up on the promise of how Hellraiser 3 ends. Like, the idea of the box being built into this office building and what you could do with Hellraiser in an office building is like so tantalizing, and then it's just like, let's just do a period piece and a future piece simultaneously instead.
Yeah, I would have loved a Hellraiser office building. You know, Bloodline. Have we done Bloodline?
I think we've done almost every single Hellraiser now.
I think
Deaders
part
left?
6 is the only one we haven't done. 6 or 7.
Yeah.
Whichever one is the film noir. No, we did the film noir one.
We did the film noir.
We didn't do the one where Ashley Lawrence came back, right?
Yes.
Is that 5 or is that 6?
So 5 is the one that's a film noir.
Is Inferno.
So that's
Okay.
Inferno, which we've done. I think it's just 6 and 7 that we haven't done.
Wow.
As far as Doug Bradley Pinhead goes.
Yeah. As far
Wait,
as
what's
like
7?
let me see, because their names.
Hellseeker?
Yeah, their names are not helpful. So we haven't done Hellseeker or Deader. Those are the two that we haven't done.
Yeah.
Those are really hard to find too. Those are not.
Oh, I've got them on a.
You have them on like on an 8-pack or like an 11-pack.
It's that. So there was a DVD box set that was released that was just Hellraiser 3 and beyond.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
I've only seen it on one that had like Bud the. There was one that had like Bud the Chud.
Yeah.
And there was it was a crazy one that those movies don't exist in another format really right now, except in that movie pack. But anyway, these movies rule, and this one in particular is an all-timer. It's in my top 10 favorite horror films, maybe in my top 10 films
favorite movies. That's wild. I mean, like, I love it. I love it too, and I probably put it in my top 10 favorite horror films. But it's crazy to think but it makes sense for me, like knowing you, that it would be in your top 10 of all time, regardless of genre.
When I think of Hellraiser, specifically this first movie, I've talked about him a couple times, my Uncle Craig, but I think about how terrified this box art made me. Not the front. I didn't care about Pinhead holding the cube, but when you flip the box around, you had Skinless Frank on the back of it, and that made me very uncomfortable. And then my Uncle Craig had these, I would say 2 to 3 foot tall figurines of all of the Cenobites that he had in the glass case.
Yeah.
And I would just stare at them. I was fascinated by these films when I was afraid to watch horror movies.
Terrified, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I remember renting it probably, it must have been in high school, I guess, when I was getting into horror more and more. And this movie just really blowing my mind in how good it was, how gross it was at parts. But I wanted to quote, there's a podcast that I produce, YAOK. One of the hosts is Alyssa Lube. And when she was on The Circle, the original reason why she got casted was that she just happened to be in LA when they were looking for people. And she had moved to LA to do special effects makeup because of the Hellraiser franchise.
Oh, and wow. I did not know that about her.
And she had talked about how, the very first time I ever spoke to her about anything, she talked about Skinless Frank and Skinless Julia and how she was just obsessed with how beautiful and gross those characters were. She's it's so gross because it is a person with no skin, but it is so realistic that it almost becomes beautiful to look at, where you're just fascinated by all of the work that went on behind the scenes. And that was her becoming obsessed with learning. She wanted to learn special effects makeup and moved to LA to study that.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's wild.
I mean, and they are those effects they stand out.
The stop motion Frank Rebirth is one of the most impressive things in any film.
Love it.
Ever.
So good.
It's so long, but it doesn't we always talk about how long the werewolf transformation in American Werewolf in London and The Howling is, but this is probably longer than both of those transformations, and I could watch 15 more minutes of it if given the opportunity, because it is just so impressive from every second.
It's mixed media too, right?
Yeah.
It's that particular approach to it. That sequence is not It is. I mean, it's effects heavy, right? But it's not just a singular effect, or not just like a singular way of showing the effect. It's this mixture, and which we've come to find out. That's Clive Barker's whole fucking deal, right?
Yeah.
It's just like his artistry is everywhere, in so many different forms. It's just cool that like you can kind of narrow it down to something like that sequence and be like, oh, yep, that's Barker.
And this opens up a lot of conversations. This is arguably, I think, one of the best debut films from a director.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
He'd done 2 short films before this. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy to me. I would even argue of the 80s, you have to remove Texas Chainsaw Massacre from the conversation, I think.
Sure.
But of the 80s, I think this is also the best part 1 of any of the major horror franchises that come out in the 80s. And that's including Nightmare on Elm Street, which I love. But I think that this is a more impressive overall
I think
film.
that's you being... I think that's you with your adult eyes.
Yes. Oh, as a kid, I was going to go all in on Freddy 100%.
Well,
of the time.
it's very interesting. I barely had to watch this because I've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
So while I was watching it, I was reading trivia, and one of the things that I found very interesting, and I'll just touch on them throughout the conversation, but one of them pertaining to Nightmare on Elm Street is that they originally, like the studio originally wanted Pinhead to talk and crack jokes. Either talk and crack jokes like Freddy or not speak at all like Jason, because they thought that it was going to be like a slasher franchise. And Clive Barker was like, no, he's got to talk and he's got to be like very stately. He said he wanted it to be like Christopher Lee as Dracula, because that is scary to him, and not cracking jokes or not speaking at all. And I also found it very interesting because this was Doug Bradley's first movie too. He was he was going to audition for either the priest, lead Cenobite. We should refer to Pinhead as lead Cenobite because that is what he is quoted as or titled as in the credits. But Clive Barker has never sat well with Clive Barker that he's been nicknamed Pinhead, because it's kind of like minimizes how fucking terrifying the priest is.
Hey, who you calling Pinhead?
Yeah, exactly. But so Doug Bradley, he was going to either audition for Pinhead or one of the fucking mattress movers. Because his thought process is funny. It's very interesting. His thought process was, well, this is my first movie. I should probably not go for a big lead role. I should just go for this small role to get my feet wet, because he had mostly done theater. Then he thought about it and he was like, no, I'm going to go for the lead Cenobite. And when he was doing his performances, Clive Barker was like, do less. Because, if he's a stage actor, he's making big movements, and he's like, do less. And he would do less. And Clive Barker would go, do less again.
Yeah.
And so he had to because he wanted to be so stately and scary in his solemnity. And I just think that is so interesting.
I think that it's also one of those things, we talk about the perfect casting of Robert Englund as Freddy, right? That almost no one can fill those shoes. And we're mostly in that same position, I think, with Pinhead for the most part, because there is such a, you walk away from this and you think, of course a theater actor would play Pinhead. That's the only way that it makes sense, actually, and that's what makes it scary. And that's why I think when they did the reboot, you do have to do a completely different variation of this lead Cenobite, because any other time that they've tried to recast this version of Pinhead / the lead Cenobite, it's been atrocious. It's been just dude that they threw a few bucks at overacting. There's that one where he's just in a room next door.
Yes.
Revelations.
That's Revelations. Yes.
You're just
thank you.
what the fuck is this? Is Pinhead a child? Is he a 5-year-old toddler? not being given a toy? Like, what is this nonsense?
I had to watch that I did this Dimension Extreme.
Oh, yes.
ranking
I remember your
conversation
Dimension Extreme
with our
ranking.
buddies over at Video Monsters, and that was rough. That was a rough watch altogether. Though, admittedly, they had $30,000 or $300,000 in like 7 days, and I'm like, okay, well, do
you know what let's not give them too much credit. Do you know how much they spent on this movie?
$1 million.
This is $1 million.
It was actually
true.
900,000, and then they got another extra 100,000, so it was $1 million, and then it made $33 million at the box office. So I mean, like, let's not discount the fact that this movie was very scrappy. You know another piece of trivia I thought was amazing. It just shows that Clive Barker is just the guy, is he and one of the other guys that were working on this movie are the ones that did the celluloid painting. Like all of the blue and the yellow in the final scene, all that like electricity and stuff. They painted that. They did the celluloid painting over one weekend. They did it like I guess that they just got really fucking drunk and just did that over a whole weekend. Yeah.
Oh my god. Like that's the dream, right? Like as a independent filmmaker to making your thing, like just being like, okay, we need to get this done. Then you're gonna come over this weekend. We're gonna figure it out. And
and I doubt that either of them had done much of that beforehand.
Right. Just track back real quick about Doug Bradley auditioning to be one of the movers. I don't think about moving a piece of furniture through a doorway without thinking of this movie.
I check all the walls every time.
Every time, dude. I don't move a piece through a doorway.
This is the
looking.
weirdest. This is the weirdest thing that you guys are going to ever hear me say. We bought not one but two new mattresses. We have two beds in our house, one for us and one for our guests. We replaced both of them last year, which was so fucking weird. And of course I had to move the old ones out, and I moved one of the new ones in, like the bigger new one, our new one, like for our bed is a king, and it was delivered and like moved in, but like moving the other ones, I was like, and I know for a fact that there are no random nails that could slice my hand open, but
this is in your head forever.
There's something about it. Like some people think Pivot from the show Friends. I think of catching my hand on a nail.
That's me and Megan. That's literally me and Megan, dude.
It's a combination of both. Mostly because my family uses that Pivot clip from Friends as explaining what moving with me is like.
It's the yin and yang of millennials, right?
Yeah,
like, is that
for sure.
Moving furniture.
Did you guys? I was not aware that there was another Hellraiser after Revelations, but before the remake.
Judgment.
Judgment made $450,000 at the box office on its $350,000 budget.
Okay.
I mean, it made its budget back, I guess. But Jesus Christ,
that's crazy. In like Hollywood accounting, that's still a loss.
That's still, I mean, obviously, but my God, the fact that someone's making a Hellraiser movie for $300,000, like,
in 2018? 18 to, I was going to say 15.
Yeah.
You know what's so crazy is that's 4 years before the Hellraiser soft reboot.
Was that just, Kyle, is that just one of those things where they had to keep making these sequels to hold on to the copyright situation?
I think so.
Probably,
I think they were really, that was a death grip. Gary Tunnicliffe directed that, which is kind of weird. He did he does a ton of makeup effects, and he had for
that explains
Bloodline. But that might be,
that explains it.
Yeah, really, really bad.
Yeah. They, the irony was that it was like Dimension Films was trying so badly to hold on to that Hellraiser franchise,
and they're just diminishing the value of. They're
diminishing the value, but also that movie tanked additionally because it was coming out around the exact same time as all of the Dimension Film allegations, and then I think they had to sell off the brand anyway. Like at that point, Dimension Films gets dismantled, so they just made these two cheapo garbage sequels that nobody wanted. And like they still didn't even get to keep the rights to the franchise.
No.
It was 20th Century Fox that made the remake. So like,
well, you know what? I gotta hand it to them.
that 2022 is fantastic.
It's great, you know, and so I gotta thank Dimension Films for fucking it up, dropping the ball so bad, because you know, like we could have an entire other conversation about how there are similarities and differences with The Hellbound Heart, which is the short story novella that obviously inspired this film. I find that watching Hellraiser 87 and Hellraiser 2022, if you kind of blend the Hell Priest from both, because like Jamie Clayton I thought was a great casting for that, because and they really played into a lot of the androgynous aspects of the Cenobites, and they're actually not even called Cenobites in the book or in the story. It's very funny how like so much of the nomenclature of Hellraiser is wrong if you take the source material. And Clive Barker, like, I admittedly have not yet read the Scarlet Gospels. I have a copy of it waiting on my TBR, but pile. But I you know, I've heard very mixed things about it, and I also don't really like Clive Barker's fantasy work, so I, you know, like it's not high on my to-do list. But I do find it very interesting that whoever decided to reboot Hellraiser was like, you know, there are some things that are missing, because like Hellraiser itself, I would say specifically Hellraiser 87 is a very queer movie, obviously. I feel like you lose a lot of that. It gets watered down severely every time they do another one. I mean, like, you still have them wearing the BDSM outfits,
but that's about it.
It is, like, none of the sexual perversion that's kind of like, it permeates so much of this movie is there. And I read a couple opinion pieces which were so fucking purple I couldn't stand it. But they did point out some interesting things about how Clive Barker really wanted to have, since he had to take away some of the more oblique discussions that were in the novella, with the movie he wanted to beat you over the head with some other things, and like the amount of blood. I mean, because like The Hellbound Heart is splatterpunk, and a lot of that is very queer itself as like a subgenre of the horror literature coming out in the 80s. But the movie, there's so much blood, and like there's this idea of like transgressive sex, and that equals death, because like Clive Barker's gay man in the 80s during the AIDS epidemic, all these things, like I find them to be very interestingly different in the movie than they were in the story, in the novella. And I think that they did a good job of hitting some of those other pieces in the 2022 reboot, and also talking about the Cenobites in an interesting way that is very, I think it's very it's very true to the source material. But but a lot of people really didn't like it for a lot of reasons, and I don't really want to like hem and haw about those, because I don't want to be a negative Nancy. But goddamn, I think that those movies, I could actually watch those movies back to back, and they would feel like they feel like spiritually similar, aligned.
I agree. I mean, I didn't take a lot of issue with that new one the way that some folks did. Or I think, again, when you're just approaching a story or what you think a story is and what you have it in your mind as, you know, you see the 87 Doug Bradley lead Cenobite on the blue cover, you know, it's like you get you have this image in your head. Or even if you think there are all these mid sequels, if that's the understanding of Hellraiser that you have, and then you're going into the new one, I think it's such a standalone piece that does work. And I would like to revisit the novella, you know, and pick up some of those themes again, and see how they compare. Maybe that'll be sometime this February.
Yeah. Perfect time to reread Hellbound Heart. It's a quick read. You could probably do it. Like I know that you are not like a voracious reader, and that's That's not a diss at all. Like I think that
I could tackle it.
It's like
in
140
amount of
pages
time.
or something.
Yeah,
It is,
yeah. And it's
short.
a smooth read. Like Clive Barker is so readable anyway.
Yeah.
And like for listeners, if you haven't read the Books of Blood, which The Hellbound Heart is considered part of the Books of Blood, you need to fucking read them. It is some of the best, in my opinion, it's some of the best horror short work that's been done in the last fucking 50 years. It's so good. He's so clever. It's cosmic. It's like Lovecraftian to me, and it's got body horror, but it's also got like a lot of the Tales from the Crypt, EC Comics revenge stuff that Stephen King was doing in the 70s and early 80s. Feel like there's that, but in a splatterpunk view. I'm actually thinking of what's the one called, like Pig's Blood or something like that?
Yep.
That one is
There's
the one that,
Pig's Blood, yeah.
Yeah, that one is, it feels like the closest that you could get to Clive Barker doing a King concept, which is the way I feel about the original Jerusalem's Lot, which is King doing his best Lovecraft. And it's honestly probably my favorite King short story anymore. And so it's just very interesting to see like the veins of connection there. I got way off topic of Hellraiser 87, but it's kind of important to talk about the novella.
You can't talk about it without talking Clive Barker as as a singular voice. I don't think, and that's what makes this movie such a standout. Is I think his singular voice, directorial debut, like what the fuck?
Who else has this as a directorial debut? Nobody can do that.
That's crazy.
We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo!
Are you troubled by trying to find a great movie podcast to listen to?
Do you experience a love for monster movies from the classic Universal era to the modern creature features?
Have you or your family ever watched episodes of Elvira, Monster Vision, or Svengoolie?
If the answer is yes, then don't wait another minute. Open up your podcatcher and search for the professionals. The Monster Rally Podcast.
Our hilarious and asinine hosts have an ever-growing library of episodes for you to listen to 24 hours a day to serve all your monster movie needs.
We'll talk about it.
Well, I mean, we didn't really go through the plot, but who needs us to go through the plot of
sure the people
Hellraiser?
listening know
yeah.
the plot of Hellraiser.
So, Scott, if you had friends over to watch Hellraiser, what would you watch next?
I feel like this is kind of a cheap answer, and I apologize, but Event Horizon, just because it's Hellraiser in space.
That's what I had written down. No,
well, and I also did that for Hellraiser 4. So again, it feels like a really cheap answer. I think that Hellraiser is a significantly better movie than Event Horizon, because Event Horizon was actually pretty disappointing when it fucked me up until the third act. Like, I remember watching it in like 98 or whatever, when it was first on VHS, and being like, holy shit, like almost like throwing up. It was so disturbing with the hell dimension stuff. And that's what I would like if Hellbound instead of seeing the labyrinth, you saw a hell dimension like in Event Horizon, it would be like way better than it is. Like I like Hellbound, but I'm just saying it would be so much better because that is truly hellish to me. And so like Event Horizon has a lot of pitfalls, but I do really like the first hour and 15 minutes of it.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna. Okay, that was what I had written down. I'm gonna go with something that I actually just rewatched the other day for the first time in like 2 decades. I'm gonna go with Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992 because it's also kind of like a sexy horror film.
Dude, we watched that last winter. So winter of 20 like literally like last January.
So much better than I remembered when I watched it for the first time.
Being fucking mediocre when I was in high school, or maybe junior high when I watched it. I never watched it again, and holy shit, it's beautiful. It is lush.
There's
Everybody
like
is
cool
killing
puppetry at one point.
Yeah.
Like it's just a cool movie. I'm glad that I finally rewatched because I watched it in like 2005 and probably thought the same thing as you. I was like, that's pretty mediocre for how much people talked about this movie, and then I revisited it literally last week and was like, this is great. So
it's so good.
Kyle, how about you? What is your double feature?
I'm going to go with another Clive Barker story and go with Candyman.
Ooh, nice.
They
also known as The Forbidden.
Yeah, they
from the Books
attempted
of
to
Blood.
they tried to do a crossover movie after Freddy and Jason was a hit. They wanted to do like a Pinhead Candyman crossover, and Barker was like, "Don't do that."
That sounds awful.
Please don't do that. You don't have my blessing.
Yeah. Listen, there's a lot of things that we can never give our blessing to, but one of the things we can give our blessing to is you going over to patreon.com/HMN podcast and becoming a patron, joining the Slack, letting us know what your double feature is, finding us on social media at HMN Podcast on everything, including Letterboxd. Go to our store, hmnpodcast.dashery.com, and visit our website, hmnpodcast.com. We're good people. Come help us out. Come hang with us. All of that good jazz. And lastly, Scott, what is something that you've recently watched, listened to, read, etc.?
I saved this because instead of mentioning it last week, but I thought that it would make more sense to do it when we're discussing a movie based on a book. I have finally found for the first time in at least 6 months, a 5-star book.
Let's go.
I slogged through some shit after Christmas, but I picked up a copy of There Is No Antimemetics Division by Quantum. QNTM is his nom de plume. And I was like, oh, this feels like SCP. Like I read like, you know, the blurb on Goodreads, and I'm like, this sounds like SCP. I'm totally down for that because I love SCP, and I've talked about it ad nauseum on the show. And I start reading it, and I'm like, this is oddly similar to some SCP entries that I remember. And I was like, wait a minute, wait one hot damn second. And I looked it up, and he's actually the author of those SCP stories. He and the great thing about the SCP wiki is that you, as a writer, actually own the rights to your stories. They have no claim. They are just literally like a place, a common location for people to post stories and have feedback, and then those stories can become part of the larger lore of the SCP Foundation. But it's very interesting because a lot of his work on the SCP wiki is about memetic anomalies. So like memory erasing or memory changing creatures, artifacts, places, things like that, and they're hard for my brain to wrap around, and so I didn't love them. I never really was drawn to them, but he took a bunch of those and he built this story about one of the main like stories that he has in the SCP Foundation, and it is so good. It's existential horror, it's cosmic horror, like very Lovecraftian in that way. It's not super long. I think it was 225 pages or something like that. So I destroyed it in 2 nights, and it was a hard read because it wasn't a hard read. It was a challenging read because of the mimetic, like the ideas of like memories that are lost or have to be erased by chemicals so that these anomalous things can't continue to happen in the world. But absolute 5-star. I think that it's the best thing I've read since, oh my God, probably Between Two Fires. Like it is that good. I would recommend anybody who likes horror to read it because it's just so damn good. Highly recommended.
I'm going to jump off of that for a second to do a quick promo for something that at the time we're recording hasn't happened, but I believe it's on the docket. That if you go over to Geekscape TV, you will have seen that on Sunday, February 1st, there was the first live stream episode of the Dungeon Crawler Carl recap podcast.
Yeah, I've been watching those emails go back and forth, and I'm like, it's been too long because I read them all. I read all the books over the course of 2 months, but that was also 15 months ago. So
yeah, I think the goal is that they're going to recap all of the books leading up to the 8th book's release.
Yeah.
So strap in for that if you are a fan of Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Which I am.
Yeah, Katie Hampton is taking the reins on that one. Meanwhile, Scott talked some trash on it last week, but I'll keep it brief. I didn't hate the final episode of Stranger Things like a lot of teenagers on the internet did. I don't think that the season 5 will be remembered as a perfect season, but I think it will be remembered as a perfect final episode. The last 30 minutes were, to me, the way that you wrap up that story. They did like a really solid job of doing everything that story was supposed to be. And I've gotten into some arguments online with people about it, but I've been rewatching the show with Barb's oldest because he wanted to see it. And from day one, this has always been 80s Spielberg. This has always been Goonies. This has always been Monster Squad. So, like, the people who went into this finale being like, I need to see some of these characters die, like, you're setting yourself up for disappointment because that was never, ever going to be what this story was about. It's about a crazy adventure for a bunch of kids that bring the kids closer together. And the way that they tie that up in the last 30 minutes after all of the action and chaos and getting this, like, graduation scene where we see the people that these characters are going to become and them, like, moving away and pulling apart, but they'll always be united by this, like, crazy supernatural event that they all were a part of. Like, I just thought it was beautifully done, and I applaud it. So if you've been putting it off because the kids on TikTok hated it, it's worth watching, I think. But if you're like checked out and you haven't, like, if you have to watch like 4 more seasons to get into it, I don't think it's worth the journey.
Okay.
But but if you already made it to season 4, like, just knock out season 5. Why not? But that's it. Kyle, take us home.
Yeah. I watched a movie by Peter Greenaway, who is probably best known for The Cook, The Thief,
His Wife and Her Lover. Yeah.
He made and I picked this up on a whim, and I really picked it up mainly because of the description of the movie, and it was much more than I had expected. I picked up a movie called A Zed and Two Knots. Now, A Zed and Two Knots is a movie about 2 zoologist twin brothers who lose both of their wives in a car accident outside of the zoo, and their relationship to each other, and it's about their relationship to each other, their relationship to the now amputee who survived the wreck, who was in another car, and their obsession with how animals decay. It is
what like year is this?
85.
Wow.
It's as if this is how I described it. It's as if Jodorowsky and David Cronenberg had a British half brother, and this was the movie that existed between the two of them. There's this level of symmetry and lighting and space that feels very like Jodorowsky, but then there's the body horror and the twin ship of like I can't not think of Dead Ringers or Crash when I think about this. But this is 10 years before Cronenberg was doing any of that particular realm of it. A little more eroticism and kink here, but also like British. It's also like kind of proper, and it does culminate in a really wild end that I was kind of shook by. I really enjoyed it, and it's funny. Like there's also like parts of humor to it. Like you're watching these two dudes. They've lost their wives, but then they think that they're figuring it out, right? Like their distressed relationship, they think that they're figuring it out and coming together and being better people, when in actuality they've like dived into more chaos and more insanity. But you watch them go from disheveled to like more, proper and feeling better about it. But it's all wild. It's wild. I found it on a DVD. A really bare bones DVD. I was then pointed out on Letterboxd, and I don't know if it was a list. I don't know if this person's a listener or not, but Kino has it available on DVD or Blu-ray. And Kino just always does sales, so they have some other Peter Greenaway stuff. I was really blown away by it. It's a cool, good first find of 2026 for me.
That's such a Kyle movie too.
That is. I was gonna say that's one of those movies where I know that I'm not going to enjoy it, but there is this weird morbid curiosity where I'm like, I feel like eventually I'm going to watch it and be like, that's beautifully made. I never want to watch it again, and I'm sad that I watched it once.
Very that. It's very.
There's a handful of those that I've experienced in my life, and why not throw one more on the pile? I'm 40. Let's get crazy. Well, this was the first of 4 movies we're doing for Franchise February, so stay tuned next week to find out what the next franchise is we are diving into.
We're here to entertain you. We'll sing your songs.
Hey there. Are you obsessed with things that happened before your time? Well, if you are, join me, the host of Before My Time, Kelsey Laurie, to discuss the wonders of the yesteryears that we weren't around to enjoy ourselves. You can find us on all podcast platforms.
Dixieland's a playing, soon you'll be swaying, so come on, sing along.
Are you a fan of young adult novels?
Have you ever wondered the stories behind the people who wrote your favorite young adult novels?
Then join author Eric J. Brown
And Alyssa Lube of Netflix's The Circle.
every other Tuesday on YAOK.
Available on all podcasting apps.
Woo! You're listening to the Geekscape Network.